everyone, and welcome back to my YouTube channel. Thank you so much for being here. This is a quick daily stretch that you can do to increase your flexibility. Let's start sitting in a cross-legged position, close the eyes, drop the shoulders, and come into the present moment. The hands can come to the knees, and let's begin to take some lovely deep healing breaths. Take the deepest breath you've taken all day. Calm the mind. Let go of any tension your body is holding and any thoughts that are having a negative impact on you. Let it go for right now. Let's begin with some neck circles going in one direction. Stretching through. Take a deep breath and reverse the direction. Inhaling and exhaling. Lovely, come back through center and go for some shoulder rolls here in one direction, just moving up towards the ceiling, back towards the back of the mat, and move through full circles before changing direction. Taking a lovely deep healing breath and relax. Let's move through the wrist circles next, going in one direction. Building strength, getting ready to be a little bit more flexible for the next few minutes. Bringing the hands back to the knees. Take a lovely deep breath here. And slowly in your own time, let's extend the legs. The knees will be bent. The feet can come slightly off the mat. Still in a seated position, and we're just going to windscreen wiper the knees backward and forward, side to side, opening up through the hips, releasing any tension we're holding. You can lean back slightly, bring the hands to the floor, and move through this movement at your own pace. Just warming up the body. Again, opening up the hips, moving in a way that we don't normally do as we move through the day. Lovely. We're going to move into butterfly pose. So we're going to bring the bottom of the feet together. You can extend the stance as wide as feels good for you. And the knees are just going to flop open here, trying to bring the knees closer to the mat, and eventually you can move the feet closer to the pelvic bone. Use the index finger and the middle finger to wrap them around the big toes. Maybe bring the elbows to the inner sides of the legs, and we're just going to push the legs open here, leaning forward into butterfly pose. This is really good for stretching through the hamstrings, the inner thighs, and again opening up the hips and releasing tension. This will get you closer to your wide leg splits, as well as helping you get into positions such as forward fold and halfway lift. Continuing to breathe through the stretch, pushing forward, and slowly come back to sitting upright. And we're just going to move through the first position again, so bringing the legs into a bent position, moving from left to right, opening up the hips that little bit further. Again, you can lean back, bringing the hands to the floor if that feels better for you. Take a lovely deep inhale before coming back to a seated position, bringing the left leg slightly in front of the right, and we're going to lean forward You can bring the hands to the floor and slowly walk them further out until you reach a point where you can't go any further. Try to keep the head lifted and the back straight, and this should feel lovely as a stretch through the hips, as well as the lower back and the upper legs. Breathe through the stretch. Continuing to push yourself that little bit further. The more you practice this daily, you'll become more flexible. So show up regularly for the practice. Let's switch the legs over, bringing the right leg in front of the left. And again, we're going to fold forward, using the hands as support. Keep the head slightly lifted and the back straight, and feel that lovely deep stretch through the hips. Keep going. You should feel a lovely stretch through the right hip here. And again, come to wherever feels good for you. Don't push yourself so far that it hurts, but you should feel a tight stretch and know that something is happening, something's working for you in this posture. Lovely. Take a deep inhale and let's come back to center, sitting on the mat. And then slowly, in your own way, in your own time, let's find ourselves standing at the top of the mat. Feet are hip width apart. Tuck the pelvis in, straighten the spine, let's stretch up, reach towards the ceiling, and on your next exhale, let's lower down, bring the hands towards the mat, and try in this position to straighten the legs, but if that doesn't work, you can use a micro bend through the knees. And come into a forward fold. Drop the head, bring the weight into the top of the back and the head, creating a lovely stretch through the legs. Remember that micro bend if you need it. As long as you feel a lovely stretch through the legs here, it's working. Let's push up to a halfway lift, straightening the back, lift the head. The hands can come to the thighs if that feels better for you. Again, micro bend in the knees is welcome here. Inhale, exhale, lowering to the mat once more. Into your forward folds, and on an exhale, lift the head and move up to your halfway lift. We're going to move through a few of these at your own pace, gently bringing that stretch to the legs before planting the palms. Step the right foot back, and we're going to come into a low lunge here. Feel that stretch through the hamstrings, through the hips and the pelvis. Inhale and exhale. Going to move through to straighten the left leg, or to bring it as straight as possible for yourself. Try to flex the left foot, coming into a runner's stretch. And move between these two postures, low lunge and runner's stretch, at your own pace. Moving the legs, stretching them out in different areas. Flexing that foot, maybe bending further forward as we increase our flexibility. Eventually in your low lunge you might want to lift the hands up towards the ceiling. You can play around with this movement. What does your body need? Maybe you need to stay in one position longer than another. Let's curl the toes under on that right foot and bring that right foot to meet the left at the top of the mat, coming into our forward fold. Inhale, raising the hands above the head, coming to stand at the top of the mat. And inhale, raise the hands overhead, palms come to touch before we come back to our forward fold. Inhale. And exhale, releasing any tension before coming into our halfway lift. Release back to your forward folds. Move back through your halfway lift. Plant the palms and let's step that left foot back, coming into our low lunge on the opposite side. Breathe through the stretch. Inhale and exhale before straightening out that right leg. Flex the right foot. Move between the two postures, low lunge and runner's stretch. Listening to your body here. In your low lunge, you might want to again raise the hands towards the ceiling, challenge your balance, build strength, engage the core. If you want to here, you can pause the video and take a few more minutes on either side, really to stretch out all of the muscles here that we're going to build flexibility in. Lovely, curl the toes under on that left foot before bringing it up to meet the right at the top of the mat. Coming into forward fold once again. On an inhale, we're going to slowly roll up through the spine to come to a standing position. Roll the shoulders. Let's come to the center of the mat and come back to our seated position in our own way and our own time. Take a lovely deep inhale here before bringing the right hand to the mat and lifting the left hand overhead, stretching through the side body. Keep the head lifted. Breathe through the stretch on that left side. On your next exhale, let's move through center and go for the other side. That left hand comes to the mat and right arm goes overhead. Lift the head and breathe. Lovely, exhale, come back through center. Raise the hands overhead, palms come to touch. Bring the hands down through the third eye and to the heart center. Bow the head. Take a moment of gratitude here for this practice and all your body can do. Thank you so much for joining me today. I've really enjoyed it and I hope you have too. Have a great day. Bye.